Have you ever seen something from the corner of your eye that wasn't there when you looked? How about hearing from a friend of a friend while they were hiking somewhere in the woods that they saw something impossible, but when they spoke to a ranger, there was always a simple explanation that didn't quite add up and left you unsatisfied? My name's Chris, and I'm here with my colleague Jack, and we're senior wardens for the Creature Conservation Initiative. We protect the world from the creatures of superstition and myth, but more importantly, protect those same creatures from the world. Welcome everyone to episode 4 of Blink and You Myth It. I'm here with my colleague Jack again. Jack, how are you doing?
I'm very good, and I'm currently smiling to myself because it's been a while since I've heard the name, and it made me smile.
It's a good one. For everyone
Very
out
happy.
there, it was Jack's idea, so he's a bit proud of that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting that we are able to do this, and that we get so much greater freedom on how we do it. So very grateful for the opportunities we got here.
So am I.
Yeah. So what we're talking about today is a creature that is again from the town of Aachen. We were there in my last episode as well, and that was actually the reason why I was in the city. And it's kind of a very local legend, and it's called the Bahkauv. Have you ever heard that name before?
No, I have never heard that name, and I am very, very curious as to why. So, as you were just saying a second ago, this is a recent encounter for you.
It is, and it's a kind of creature that is usually quite docile. We don't really have to interfere a lot. It's just every now and then it pops up, but it's never really any big trouble. So we mostly leave it alone. It was just there was a particularly feisty one that triggered a response from us. And yeah, you probably haven't heard about it because, as far as we know today, it is entirely localized within the city of Aachen and has never been seen anywhere outside. Of course, there's probably similar creatures, but we're talking about a creature that looks kind of like a calf, a large calf, but more muscular, let's say, and there's like almost like bear paws with very sharp claws, and it has a long, scary, scaly tail, even both actually, and
okay,
yeah, its eyes glow in the dark and all that kind of stuff, and it looks very intimidating.
Sounds very intimidating, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you started off so sweet. Everyone loves a little calf, and then all of a sudden it became the demon beast from hell.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. As I said, usually they are somewhat docile, and they make a little bit of mischief, but usually nothing that worrisome. And it's again one of those creatures that has its own statues in the city. So at some point,
that can't be a popular statue.
You'd be surprised. Yeah. And it's one of these occasions where somewhere along the line sightings got rare enough that people put it off into the realm of legend. And yeah, these days people talk about it, but it's mostly in jest. And the Bahkauv's gonna get you, but of course everyone knows that that's not gonna happen, except sometimes it does. And
so it gets you. It literally gets you.
Yeah, it doesn't get you, but yeah, we'll get to that. It is in the city. They have a lot of what's it called, thermal springs and stuff like that from the olden times, and that's mostly where it lives. Mentions of it go back to around 17th, 18th century, maybe 16th, depending on who you ask. So it's not ancient, but it's been around for a while. And
okay, yeah. So it's a resident. It's a
resident.
good resident of the city.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an honorary citizen probably because of the statue and everything.
Well, again, there's a lot of city councils that do like to do things like that. The X creature, it's from here. Let's, a little bit of a PR stunt. Let's give it citizenship. Except that then also makes our job slightly harder because we're dealing with not just a creature anymore, we're dealing with bloody citizen.
Yeah.
But, that's a whole different situation.
Exactly. Yeah, and common wisdom around people was that it was a single creature, but it's been around 300, 400, 500 years now, and even most of our creatures don't live that long, so it's pretty obvious that there's some kind of population, and it's just rare enough for one to get to the outside that people think it's a single beast, and they usually don't want to look close enough to see any differences, and it always looks the same to them.
So this is one of those ones where we don't actually contain it in a controlled environment, a bit like the Knuckle of we were talking about. This is one of those ones where it roams free, and we intervene to stop it from annoying the populace, damaging the populace, or getting hurt by the population.
It annoys people sometimes, which is usually not the point where we do anything, because let them have a little bit of fun, nobody gets hurt. But sometimes there's a particularly aggressive specimen, and that's a point where we have to kind of take control of the situation, and then usually we have to remove it and put it into one of our enclosures. They're easy to please, at least as long as it's dark and wet. They're happy. As I said, they usually live under the thermal springs, and we're pretty sure they crawl around the sewers as well a bit.
Okay.
They're quite
one of those.
They're quite sneaky in the dark, apart from the glowing eyes, of course, but they have a talent for going unnoticed when you try to look for them. The only thing that you will notice, and that is sometimes audible from above, is noise of like chain rattling, and we've never seen any actual chains, so we can only assume that it's some kind of vocalization that they produce. We haven't actually.
Are we dealing with like some kind of close relative to a parrot?
Yeah, maybe. But it's very selective in what noises it imitates. We haven't actually gotten them to reproduce it in captivity or when we were face to face with it. It's only when they are. It seems to be when they are bored during the day. They're very playful creatures in a way. That's maybe it's on purpose to scare the citizens above. That's entirely possible. They are very, as far as we have seen in our experiments, they are very smell-driven, scent-driven. They react to kind of like when you say that dogs can smell your fear. It's kind of that situation. They react to changes in your hormones and all that kind of stuff. So we assume that they are actually enjoying making these noises and scaring people just because it smells nice.
So we've got a trickster beast, basically.
Yeah, kind of. Trickster is maybe giving them too much credit, but let's actually cut to the chase what they actually do. It's when people go to the pub, they tend to consume a drink or two, and then they go home. And then at night, that's where the Bahkauv will occasionally come out of hiding, and it will seek out one of these drunk fellows, usually men. We haven't ever heard of it attacking a woman or a child, so it's really just
Very selective.
Very selective. And it seeks out these drunk men on their way home, and it jumps on their back, and it has a limited capability of speech. So I wouldn't, you're not gonna have extended conversations, but it can get general ideas across, and it jumps on these people's backs, and basically demands to be carried. And it wants them to carry it. It basically sits on these people's shoulders, and it doesn't let go until they are until the men actually walk them to their very doorstep. At which point, the Bahkauv will be satisfied and jump off, and then either go home or seek out the next victim if they're still bored. And you can...
all right. Hold up here for a second. So we are literally dealing with a creature that seeks out intoxicated individuals, if we're going to be fancy about it.
Yes.
Goes, you know what? I'm going to have him. Jumps on their back and goes, "Take me home."
Yes. Basically, that's the entire thing. And as you see, it's not
this one.
It's not actually very dangerous. It's more annoying. So we don't really need to interfere a lot. And there's usually not a lot of that happens.
I mean, who's going to believe the drunk guy who's trying to tell you that that last night while he was trying to get home?
Exactly.
He had to give a piggyback to some kind of calf beast.
Yeah, and you can imagine how it evolved into kind of a story that husbands tell their wives and children about why they were
Sorry, it took
home
me so long
that
to get
late.
home.
Yeah. I wanted to get home earlier, but the Bahkauv got me, and it was so heavy, and so
it had absolutely nothing to do with the 5 other pints that I drank when I told you I was
exactly,
coming home. Yeah.
Exactly. And then that's why it gets muddy a bit, because often they would also say that it took the last of their money, and the jury's a bit out if that's just made up or if it sometimes steals them. So, as I said before, they are quite playful, so I wouldn't be surprised if they just grab some things off the people they attack.
Fair enough, put your hand in the pocket,
because it's not really a physical attack usually. So usually nobody gets hurt, even with how intimidating it looks. What is interesting is that its representation throughout history. So it's of course the church got wind of it and marked it as a devil's beast, and
of course
you can see why it there's a distinct smell of like sulfur when you're around it. And the other thing is I'm not sure if it understands the words or if it's more reaction towards changes in your emotions and hormones or whatever, but the gist is that if you curse, then it's gonna make itself lighter and easier to carry, and if you start praying because you're scared or something, then it's gonna make itself heavier to carry around. So that's how people started saying, obviously, then it must be a devil's beast, because why else would it dislike you praying? But
I mean, this sounds a little bit to me like a priest had one of these jump on his back and decided, after he'd had a little bit too much of the communion wine, and decided to write to the Pope.
Exactly.
And explain himself in that manner.
Yeah, and that's probably it. Yeah, the truth of the matter is we've done experiments, and we're pretty sure that it's just a matter of scents and hormones that you are putting out when when someone prays, it's usually not because they are happy about the situation. They are scared, and of course, that creature will notice that and react differently, and it enjoys scaring people, even just for the hell of it, apparently. And yeah. So, as I said, that is usually not the point where we intervene, because it's rare enough that it's usually just the story of some drunkard or another, and there's not a lot for us to do because nobody believes them anyway, nobody got hurt, so who cares? Now,
fair enough.
Every once in a while, and so it was a few weeks ago, there is one of these that is a bit more aggressive than is as usual, and that's where it can get dangerous. It starts scratching people and injuring people. A few had to go to the hospital because of injuries from the Bahkauv, and of course, at first nobody believed them, but what got around to us, and that's when I got sent over to look into it and see if there's anything to it. Yeah, and as it turns out, we actually had a problem there. And at first we thought, there have been several reports throughout history where it was just some bandits, street thugs, however you want to call them, that dress up like a Bahkauv and use that to steal money from any people on the streets. So we thought this was
blame the mythical beast.
Yeah, exactly. So that has happened even in the 18th century, and every now and again, even today, somebody tries that. I'm not sure if they expect it to work, but maybe it's also some kind of I don't know what they're thinking. Anyway, I was there and I looked into it, and I talked to the people that were injured and looked at their injuries, and it turned out that this actually was a case of physical attacks. So we knew we had...
Wait, 1 second.
Yeah?
Let me guess. You had to go undercover, so you went to the pub.
Well, yeah. That's summarized.
Oh, okay. It, yeah. You actually did. Okay, sorry.
We tried finding it. We tried going into the sewer system and luring it out, and
so sneaky
didn't really
things,
work.
Aren't they?
Yeah, they are quite sneaky, and they are clever enough to know when you are trying to get them. So that didn't lead anywhere. So we started. I called for backup, and we basically then had 3 people there, including me, just to up our chances of getting hold of it. And we started just staying at the pub and then walking out in the street later and trying to make a bit of noise, but it didn't really work out. And at some point, after a few days, while other people got attacked again, it turned out
you have to change tack after a while, don't you?
Yeah, it turned out that that's too clever to fall for just acting like you're drunk. So I basically got paid to go drinking for several days until we finally made the catch. It was fun for the first night until the next morning. Then it got harder, and it took until the 3rd day that we actually managed to catch it. So I was there, and every night I went to the pub, drank lots of beer, lots of spirits, and made a bit of extra noise on my way through the streets. But of course I wasn't the only one drunk in the streets, and it took a couple
becomes
of days
a competition
until...
after a while, doesn't it?
Yeah. It actually took, as I said, until the 3rd day that I actually managed to attract it, and I felt it jump onto my back, and I made a big show of, oh no, the Bahkauv got me, and how horrible, God help me, and yeah, it was having a lot of fun, and it was trying to scratch at my chest, but of course I was wearing some protective sheets under my
Yeah.
clothes, because I knew what was about to happen, and yeah, we noticed that they usually only go for the chest area where the claws are anyway, when they are hanging over your back. So basically just, it's as if they just hold on really tight, but they hold on by sticking their claws into you. That was basically what the injuries were like. And basically, to make it a bit easier for myself, I started swearing a bit and trying to work up my anger a bit, so it would be a bit easier. And I proceed to walk through the city with it, and basically led it straight to our truck that was waiting at a rendezvous point, and basically just walked into the the storage trailer, into the trailer at the back. Walked in there. Colleague shut the door behind me, and said, "We're home. Happy birthday."
I was going to say, I was kind of wondering how you would catch this one, but no, it seems like a smart way. I mean, in my mind, I would have thought maybe part of the team arrives, but no, you kept it calm. You let it have its fun, and you contained it in a very, very easy and clever manner.
Yeah,
know what? I have to give you that one. Personally, if it was me, it probably would have been definitely would have been a bigger issue, that's for certain. But
well, you gotta try the simple things first, and as clever as it is, sometimes it really, really wants to play this game, and it appears it's just too tempting to grab someone like that. And if there is a way to solve a situation in a calm manner like that, then we usually take it, and I prefer it that way, because the less drama there is, the better it is. And
fair enough. Well, no, it's such a fascinating creature by the sounds of it, because again, it's one of those ones where, by the sounds of it, we don't actively go and hunt it. We don't actively try to contain it. We respond to the situation when they get a little bit rough. So, as I understand it, there must be a few running around the region just naturally and generally, but they must be very, very good at hiding, especially if they can basically be on a person's back for however long it takes for them to get home and not be noticed.
Yeah, that's quite fascinating how they manage to do that. Of course, when these people walk home, it's usually dark, and the creature in itself is quite dark as well. So from a certain distance, you probably won't even see it. And at night, people are usually, at some point, they walk around the corner where they are more or less alone, and it knows how long to wait until it can get people unseen. And it's quite a fascinating creature. As I said, for a long time, people believed there was actually only one, and that's just because it was always very, very consistent. All the creatures are very, very similar in appearance, so it took a while until mostly our organization realized that there must be a population down there of several individuals. We don't know very much about their reproduction, because the population can't be that large, especially if they are only in that particular city of Aachen. So
any indication?
We're not quite sure how the gene pool is working out there, but
any indication how long they live for?
It's tough to
say. Any idea? I
I
assume not, if we don't really have many of them in captivity.
can be 3 figures. We have tagged some, and some of them got over 100 at least.
Okay.
Sometimes they get into conflicts with each other, apparently, or maybe with other animals that they encounter, or maybe now and then a particularly combative human might have killed one of them. So it is rare for us to actually find dead bodies of them.
Yeah. Well, they've certainly got the appendages for combat,
yes,
based
definitely.
on what you were saying earlier. So I can only assume occasionally there's fights between them. Maybe one unfortunately gets killed as a result, but...
Yeah, what is interesting is that they have these sharp claws and everything, but they don't, as I said, they don't usually attack people with it. So that's kind of interesting from an evolutionary standpoint. Like, why do they have that? Is it purely because of rivalries, or what do they hunt? We know very little about how they actually live their lives.
Okay.
But it's very local, but it's very, very famous around here. It is even said that Pepin the Short, which is a name I haven't heard before, to be honest, but the father of Charlemagne, and he is said to have fought and killed the Bahkauv. Back then, of course, people believed it was the one creature, but obviously it kept popping up after that, so that's our
Please tell me that when they were celebrating, it popped up again.
Not that I know of, but,
damn it,
he probably would not have wanted that to be written down, so who knows? We can only imagine.
Headcanon.
Yeah, headcanon. Yeah. That is, I think, the most I can tell about this creature. Do you have any questions, maybe, about it, or anything else you wanted to mention?
No, you've answered pretty much all my questions. It seems like a really, really fascinating creature, and it's one of those ones I really, really like to hear about that is actually living and thriving in the wild, because there's so many creatures that we interact with every single day that we have to corral, or we have to put in facilities, or we have to move to our kind of nature reserves around the world.
It's a matter of prioritization always, because our resources are limited and we can't
of course
take captive every creature under the sun, so we have to make a certain kind of risk assessment, like what is worth dealing with, where do we send people, what do we take into captivity, and every now and then there's a creature like this that we decide is just is not worth it, basically, and we just let it roam around as long as it's not too troublesome.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, again, it's lovely to hear about things like that, and it's also quite nice to hear that you're getting an all expenses paid pub trip.
Yeah. As I said, I enjoyed it on the first night. On the second night, it was less fun, and by the third day, I was just glad it was over. I had a hangover of my life.
Yeah, I can understand, but if that entices any of you to want to join the CCI,
if that's not a recruitment offer, then I don't know what is. Yeah, you can get drunk on company cost.
I'll be interested to see how the accounts hide that one.
Well, it's a legitimate business expense. There's no need to hide it.
Fair enough. But okay then. I think that's our episode for today. So
I think so. Bit of a shorter one this time, but
yeah. Well, sometimes we don't need to speak too much on them. But recently we had our Halloween episode come out. Please let us know how you felt about that one, as well as episode 3 and this one. Give us an idea of what you thought of the last few creatures that we were dealing with. What's the name again? I am so bad at pronouncing these names sometimes. I just don't want to try it.
It's a Bahkauv.
Bahkauv.
Yeah, it's also sometimes called.
I see. Bahkauv. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also sometimes called the Bahkauv, which is like a literal translation, like a what's called a stream calf, something like that.
I'm not even going to try it. We'll
Never
get
mind.
complaints. I'm not even going to try it. But if you also enjoyed this, then feel free to rate and like everything and tell us how awesome you think we are.
Like everything, do the social stuff, share it with your mom, have your mom share it with a book club. You know how it works.
And also, if you are interested, we have our own Discord server, which will be in the description. Join us, talk with people, talk about the episodes, talk about the creatures. Tell us what kind of creatures you would like us to lift the lid on next. All of that good stuff. All the interesting social media stuff that gets you all pumped and helps the algorithm love us.
Exactly. All hail the algorithm.
All hail the algorithm. But on that note, I think that's us for today. So, thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.